There's a small compartment in your car that you've probably opened hundreds of times without ever questioning its name. It holds your documents, maybe a few random items, and somehow always ends up cluttered. It's a name that feels oddly specific, almost outdated, yet it has never been replaced. So why is it called a glove box in cars? Why name an entire feature after something most drivers don't even use anymore? Where did it come from? And why has it lasted this long? Today, we're answering that question right here on History of Simple Things. In the early days of automobiles, driving was nothing like it is today. Cars didn't have sealed cabins, climate control, or even proper windshields in many cases. Drivers were exposed to wind, dust, rain, and cold air while traveling at speeds that felt extreme for the time. Because of this, protective gear wasn't optional, it was essential. Gloves were especially important because they kept hands warm and prevented numbness caused by fast-moving air. Without them, drivers could lose comfort and even control of the vehicle. Early roads were rough and unpaved, and steering required significant effort, which made gloves even more necessary for grip and protection. Driving, in short, was physically demanding, and gloves became a standard part of the driving experience. As cars became more common in the early 1900s, drivers faced a simple but practical issue. Where do you put your gloves when you're not wearing them? Early vehicles didn't have much built-in storage. Some cars had small toolboxes attached to the side or basic compartments under seats, but there wasn't a dedicated space for personal items. Around 1900, early manufacturers like Packard began introducing built-in storage boxes, marking a shift toward convenience and organization. This addition wasn't just about comfort, it also helped distinguish automobiles from horse-drawn carriages, which had different storage needs. Over time, these storage spaces evolved and moved into more accessible positions inside the vehicle. Gloves weren't just a fashion choice, they served multiple practical purposes. Early steering wheels were often made of wood or metal and lacked the grip-friendly materials we have today. Combined with the lack of power steering, drivers had to exert real effort to control the vehicle, and gloves helped improve grip while reducing strain. They also protected hands from dirt, oil, and vibrations coming from the car. On top of that, gloves prevented blisters and calluses during long drives. Because gloves were so essential, drivers needed quick access to them, but also a safe place to store them when not in use. This made them one of the first personal items that cars were designed to accommodate. As car interiors became more refined, manufacturers began integrating storage directly into the dashboard. These compartments were often located in front of the passenger seat, making them easy to reach but out of the driver's immediate way. Since one of their primary uses was storing driving gloves, the name glove compartment naturally stuck. In some cases, the compartment wasn't even in the dashboard at first. It could be a small box on the floorboard near the driver. Over time, as dashboards evolved into control panels filled with instruments, the storage space moved into its now familiar position. The term itself became widely used in the early 20th century when glove storage was still a clear and practical purpose. As cars improved, many of the reasons for wearing gloves disappeared. Enclosed cabins protected drivers from the elements, heating systems kept them warm, and modern steering systems reduce the physical effort required to drive. Gradually, gloves stopped being a necessity and became optional. However, the compartment designed to hold them didn't disappear. It simply took on new roles. People began using it to store documents like registration papers, maps, and manuals, as well as everyday items like napkins or small tools. Despite this shift in function, the original name remained unchanged. The glove compartment had outlived its original purpose, but not its identity. So why didn't the name evolve along with its function? The answer comes down to habit and simplicity. Once a term becomes widely accepted, it tends to stick, even if its original meaning fades. Glove compartment is a clear and distinctive name that people understand instantly, so there was little reason to replace it. Language often preserves history in subtle ways, and this is one of them. Even as cars gained new features and technologies, manufacturers and drivers continued using the same familiar term. It's similar to how we still use phrases that no longer reflect modern reality, simply because they've become part of everyday language. In this way, the glove box is more than just storage. It's a linguistic time capsule. The glove box is one of those features that quietly carries a piece of history with it. What started as a practical solution for storing an essential driving accessory became a permanent part of car design, even after that accessory faded into everyday life. Today, it serves as a catch-all for modern necessities, yet its name still reflects a time when driving required preparation and protection. It's a reminder that many things we use without question were shaped by conditions that no longer exist. And even as technology moves forward, some names remain unchanged, holding on to the past in ways we rarely notice. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.